Run it back, yeah.
Oh, good morning and happy Tuesday, everybody. How we feeling? Chandler, welcome back to California. Hey, how you feeling?
I'm back. Beads, you would have hated hour 2 of this flight.
Hour 2? Oh, no.
Ooh, it was
you know how long it's
rocking.
been? I haven't been on a plane since like July or June. It's kind of insane. And I may never be again. I may drive everywhere for the rest of my life.
It wasn't dope. It was not fun.
That's miserable.
Why didn't you text me? You know Captain Beads likes to talk you down. Like, come on.
No, it was one of those things too where like just no Wi-Fi the entire flight. Couldn't even
God.
just sitting there, a sitting duck.
I hate it. Okay, Boogie, you don't know this. I hate to fly, but you'll learn. Don't worry. We're gonna get this bad boy started. I will say this with the utmost professionalism: the league was drunk last night. The games were insane. The results were weird. Let's get started with the Milwaukee Bucks, shall we? Not good news there. They lost to the 2-16 Wizards, 129-126. They've lost 8 of their last 9, and the only win in that group's been to the Nets on Saturday. So, 7th straight loss on Friday. Giannis said the Bucks need to fix their mindset, and he didn't even speak at all after last night's loss. Now, we've got those remarks. We've got this cloud of sort of where will Giannis end up next sort of looming over this entire season. Boogie, I'm going to start with you. These whispers are going to get louder. So how bad is the panic situation right now, if at all?
If I'm in Milwaukee, I'm definitely in a panic type situation. And it didn't just start this season. This was chatter, in the off season, this previous off season. So this is something that's kind of been looming in the dark for a while now. And this roster construction and the way this season is going so far definitely isn't helping the situation. So I do think this is a time for them to panic. It's a time for them to make some serious moves, like bring in some real talent, some veteran talent that can, help move the needle this season and, possibly keep him in place and keep him at home. But this season, as of right now, definitely isn't a good start, as far as keeping Giannis in town.
Yeah.
Okay, Chandler.
Like Boogie said, these rumors have been happening for a long time. You've heard the Knicks, you've heard the chatter about, all on social media about him leaving. And when you have a start like this, when they're 9-13 and they're on a 2-8 game skid the last 10, and it's bad. And there's been one surprise story for the Milwaukee Bucks, and that's Ryan Rollins. Outside of that, it's not the big signing of Miles Turner. It's not Kyle Kuzma, outperforming what Chris Middleton was doing. It's not Giannis, being on the floor, leading his team to victory. He's played only 16 of the 22 games, which isn't that bad. And statistically, he's having a great season, but there's just not enough here. And last night, you don't want to just panic over one game, but this is a bad loss. And they're bound to happen when you have such a long season. But when you give up 58 points in the paint, you give up 20 second chance points, it's a recipe for disaster. They shot 55% from the field and 55% from the three and lost the game. Like that is hard to do. They're just soft. They don't play defense. They're not clicking offensively. They turn the ball over a lot. I think they're 30th in free throw percentage, which has a lot to do with Giannis and him, shooting a low percent. But they shoot themselves in the foot. They play sloppy brand of basketball, and they're too talented to be playing like this. Like their front line, I love Giannis, Portis, Kuzma. And so Miles Turner they had. So they're too big, they're too tough, they're too talented to be getting out rebounded like this and giving up 58 points in the paint to the Washington Wizards. So I don't think this one game necessarily makes you panic, but this is just the cherry on top of holy smokes, we are so bad, we are so far away from contending or even winning games.
Lou, I know we say, ooh, they should add someone. And it sounds easy, but okay, realistically, what would they add that would make this feel like we're going to turn this thing around?
I got to go to my numbers guy. I'm going to have to go to Chandler and ask if he knows what they can afford to do. Remember that the signing of Drew Holiday years back, the signing of Dame Lillard years back, put them in a position where they didn't have a lot of long-term flexibility in what they can do in the salary cap. I'm not sure where they stand to present date, but it don't look like they can do very much in the market to make this team better. So I don't know where they go from here, but I agree with what both guys are saying. This team is too talented to underperform the way that they are, especially when we're talking about a guy who's considered an MVP candidate, who will be in the running of the top 5 guys the best 5 players in the league, you expect him by himself to be able to wield them to more wins than they are, and they just haven't been able to accomplish that. Ryan Reynolds is a young guy who's been a bright spot for them. But other than that, since this Chris Middleton trade, you haven't seen the Milwaukee Bucks that competed and won a championship years back. They are very far from home base and where they were from that team. And it's just a bad mix of guys. But I don't know what flexibility they have to even make this better at this point. You know, you bring in Doc Rivers, you fired Adrian Griffin a few years back. And all of these were decisions that Giannis were a part of and that he had a say in. Now that this thing is blown up, we're talking about, you know, the trade talks that we started talking about last year. It's a lot of responsibility to go around, a lot of accountability to go around for the Milwaukee Bucks. You can start anywhere. You can start in the locker room, from them talking about guys got to change their mindsets. You can talk about coaching, or you can talk about where they are at the salary cap. Nonetheless, it's a bad position that the Milwaukee Bucks are in, and I don't see this getting better right now.
I do feel it's a fixable situation, and you know, off top, I'm not, you know, an expert on, you know, exactly what assets they have to move right now, but we do know it's a fire sale going on in California right now that's full of veteran talent, and that's from Sacramento to the Los Angeles Clippers. So you mean to tell me adding a guy like Russell Westbrook off your bench wouldn't help Milwaukee this season? I think their biggest struggle right now is the guard play. You got Zach LaVine in Sacramento. You got DeMar DeRozan in Sacramento. I'm pretty sure the Clippers are in a couple of games going to be ready to, you know, make some moves and possibly a Kawhi Leonard, possibly a James Harden. So I do think, you know, it's some options available. It's just about how aggressive does this Milwaukee team want to be, and how important is it for them to keep, you know, Giannis in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But do they get better with more vets, or do they get younger right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're seeing all of these vets
You have your star in Giannis. I mean, he's still having an MVP type season, so that says a lot. Now we just need to put real talent around him at this stage in his career. This isn't a situation where it's, you know, it's a Clippers type situation where your star player is, you know, not always available or up and down. See, that's not the situation. He's in his prime. He's playing at a very, very high level. All he needs is a good supporting cast, you know, to make this a successful season. So I think it's
they're kind of at a crossroad.
But I think they get younger. I don't think they go out and get one of these vets. Like, no disrespect to any of them, but we're seeing the impacts that they're having on the teams that they're on. Now, obviously, when you pair them with a Giannis or somebody different, you might get different results. But right now, it looked like all of these veteran guys should stay away from the other veteran guys. All vets stay away from other vets, and let's get some young blood flowing in. I like Ryan Reynolds right now. Like, I like some of these young pieces. Where do they go from here?
Do you keep saying Ryan Reynolds, the actor, or do you mean Ryan Rollins?
Yeah, I'm Ryan Rollins.
I like Ryan Reynolds.
I actually just seen Ryan Reynolds on TV, so that's what's got me. That's what. Thank you, Beta. I appreciate you helping me with that. Ryan Rollins, the young fella. I just feel like it needs to be some young energy. And with that being said, does that young energy come at the expense of Giannis going to another market that he wants to be in, that he would be happy in a New York or somewhere else? And Milwaukee starts over and they hit the reset button. I don't know. I'm just asking questions.
I think they're in that situation now. I think that's why we're looking. They do have they surrounded him with young talent. The Ryan Rollins, the Kevin Porters, this is all young talent, and these are the results. So that's why I'm saying he may need a veteran presence that also with that same level of urgency ready to compete for a championship. It's a fine line between having young guys and young guys that's ready to compete. So I think that's kind of part of their, you know, situation right now.
Yeah, I think right now, look, they're at a crossroads. They either go young and do a huge package and send out Giannis and kind of start rebuilding this thing, get a boatload of picks, get 1 or 2, 3 solid starting pieces that you can kind of start building this thing back up. Or you go the other way and you maximize the Giannis talent and you go out and you get a Zach LaVine, you go out and get a Vooch, one of these young point guards where you can possibly add some promise and some intriguing pieces to put around Giannis. And I think it's always going to come down to perimeter shooting. I think you have to have the more shooting you have on the floor with Giannis, the better their offense will work. And right now they're struggling doing that. Ryan Rollins has been a great place. You know, Kevin Porter's been solid. He's only played 3 games though. Kuzma hasn't really been the Kuzma that we've seen in other spots, and so they don't really have that production coming from anyone else. So I think right now it's either maximize Giannis right now, or guys, we're gonna lose him, and he's gonna ask for a trade. So we need to make a decision here.
Okay, can I ask you guys, like, you guys have been around this, your player brains are going to be perfect for this question. He's not going to be the guy that makes it ugly, right? Like, that's kind of not who he's been in this league. But quietly right now, Boogie, is he behind the scenes through agents, through whomever, just like, this enough, I want out? Is that happening this season?
I can't, be